Unai Emery arguably manager of the year. Smart signings and just a dynamic front line. Most unexpected, greatest breakthrough into the top four, and so exciting to see them play Champions League football next season. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Player Zone YouTube channel, and welcome to our Aston Villa season recap, season review. We're back for the second team in the Premier League, and what a season Aston Villa had, led by Unai Emery's charge, their great home form, and a really dynamic front line, which has torn apart a lot of Premier League teams this season. They have overachieved this season, probably the biggest overachievers, breaking into the top four, dethroning the likes of Newcastle, Manchester United and Chelsea, who were sort of predicted around that area, and done it in the end quite easy. They had some moments balancing European football, a few injuries, and some smart signings on the season. They played some really good football along the way, dealing with all of that going on, and were probably one of the most consistent sides. A slower end to the season, but you can expect that when you go deep into European Cup competitions, when you play such a high-energy, high-paced style of football, you can expect a bit of a drop-off. But with all that being said, Unai Emery probably had one of the most terrific seasons in terms of managers' success and achieving. And for me, probably should have gone down as manager of the season because of what he did with that side there. Very impressed. Like when you think back to it, they were near the relegation zone when he took over. Just over a year ago now, and what he's turned this team into in such a dangerous side, taking on the Champions League next season, it has to be applauded. Looking back at their season record in the Premier League, 20 wins, a fantastic achievement with the 8 draws and the 10 losses, finishing on the 68 points and quite comfortably in the end in 4th place. Getting on to their best sign of the season, I think it has to be Moussa Diaby. There's a few you could chuck in there, but the impact he made was fantastic. I remember that first day of the season where he, and the start of the season, we just tore teams apart. Came for the 55 million euros from Leverkusen to Villa. 6 goals, 8 assists in his 38 appearances, but a lot of them coming off the bench. And it's really important in terms of the start of the season, getting Villa kick-started. Such a dangerous player off the bench with his pace. The ability to drop in left shoulder, skip past bar line, skip inside for a shot at goal. He's got so many avenues to goal. And he might not be the link-up player that maybe Leon Bailey is, but it's so important to try and get in behind that back line and threaten defences and cause a lot of problems. So whenever he comes on, he's going to cause you problems. And that's sort of play he was this year. There's a lot of good signings this year. I think he definitely goes down for me as the best in terms of the impact he's made on this side. You look at the worst signing, probably Clement Lenglet in the end. I know he's loaned in, but just really struggled to get the pace of the game, consistent performances. And he just, for me, always felt like he was the easy one to get at. Enzo Conte had a great season at centre-half or right back. Diego Carlos, when he was playing, was fantastic for me. Pau Torres, also fabulous and one of the great gets as well. But I just feel like out of all the centre-halves, whenever he came in, you think, Mings is out as well. You think he might get some more opportunity. I think he only had the 16 Premier League games and never really felt like he fit in that Villa side. Always felt like the weakest part of that side. And with some of the signings they made, there wasn't much they got wrong. And I feel like that was the only one they really went wrong with. Of course, he's on loan though, so he'll go back to Barcelona. But something they just could have done a bit better with. I think they've got to loan in a better centre-half or even brought in a better centre-half that he can develop, but he ended up just being a stopgap and someone just to fill in with all the European scheduling. With all that being said, looking to the moment of the season now for Aston Villa, and I feel like it has to be that week in December. You can almost label it that. Back-to-back 1-0 wins against Manchester City and Arsenal. And at that point in time, I thought, whoa, Villa are in a title race because they beat the top two teams. And they did it quite smartly as well. They did concede a fair few chances versus Arsenal, but you can't say they weren't in control of those games. Defended so well over the time. Some great counter-attacking goals. So solid defensive. Villa Park was up and about. And you're telling them in the space of 3 days in that very busy December period, you get 2 massive results against the top 2 teams, which are the top 2 teams of last season and this season. Fantastic result. And that just goes to show Unai Emery has got that in his bag. Yes, people comment about all the Europa Leagues he wins, his failures at Arsenal. But at that point in the season, we said here in the podcast and said, you have to consider him amongst the best managers in the Premier League because he's producing against the big teams. And at home, at Villa Park at that point in time, they still didn't lose games. They were on that great run at home, and it was such a fortress. And what a time to be alive in the Premier League that time of the season when you had Arsenal and Man City dropping points in succession of 3 days. Villa picking up 2 massive wins, and the title race is looking very interesting with Liverpool up there alongside Aston Villa as well. So probably the best moment they'll have across the next 5 or 6 years in terms of how successful it was. Unless they can cause chaos in the Champions League, that might go down as some of the best times under Unai Emery here at Aston Villa. Let's go to the breakout player of the season now. And for me, it's Morgan Rogers. Again, the stats don't really pop out on the page, the 3 goals and the 1 assist, but only 11 appearances coming from his Middlesbrough side that, yes, does he have the level to match in the Premier League? Does he have the ability? But he came through and has done fantastic in the second half of the season here. Almost taking Moussa Diaby's spot there on the left-hand flank, that left attacking midfielder, can tuck in more centrally as well and support that midfield with so many injuries going down there. Boubacar Kamara, McGinn missing through suspension, and it was basically Tielemans on his own at that time. So Morgan Rogers played a big role, tucking in, playing centrally, congesting that midfield area, and also being a very viable option out in the flank to try and interplay with Ollie Watkins and feed him the great balls in behind. Yes, the stats aren't amazing, but 11 appearances to get 4 goal contributions in the Premier League the first time you've been in the top flight is fantastic. I think the more we look at it, Morgan Rogers will be a bit of a steal of a buy. We've got a lot of those sort of players this season. You think about Adam Wharton as well, coming from Blackburn. You think about Gustavo Harmer at Sheffield United. These championship players that came up to the Premier League this season have gone on the radar and been very, very fantastic. And it goes to show, if you can do it in the championship, it normally correlates quite well to the Premier League. So I feel like he's someone to keep an eye on in the future as well. Very young, got a great future ahead of him. And if he can continue to play in that sort of inverted attacking wide midfielder role, it could be very dangerous for Villa, who, with the likes of, Leon Bailey and Diaby almost playing as a second striker to Watkins, you need that more defensively orientated other-sided winger. And this season it's been Morgan Rogers, who's been very fantastic for me and goes down as my breakout player for Aston Villa. Player of the season, it speaks for itself. Ollie Watkins, what a season he's had. The 19 goals, the 13 assists, 32 goal contributions in his 37 appearances. In the top 1% for assists for forwards in the world, wins the Playmaker Award in the Premier League. Like, when we think about some of the players we've got in the league, and he's sitting there top of goal contributions next to the likes of Cole Palmer's, the Erling Haalands, head of the Alexander Isaks. Yes, he's a great striker, but the elevation this season, him and Dom Solanke sort of been the sub-stories this season, how they've lifted their game to the next level. And it's unfortunate because you've got a Harry Kane, you've got the Ivan Tonys, all these guys in the Euros and won't get much of a look in, but the way he's lifted his game is just fantastic. Yes, we know he has that pace and his physicality is developed, but the ability to hold the ball up, to work in tandem with Leon Bailey for a lot of the season, the way he can stretch defences, can drop in short and interplay when he needs to. He's developed an IQ to be in the right spot at the right time as well. He's developed a full package. He's developed a real proper number 9 for a top 4 team. I think that's the difference this season. If you don't have Ollie Watkins in the form he's been in all season, Villa go nowhere near the top 4. But when they need goals, Ollie Watkins is there. When Leon Bailey's playing at the ability he is, Ollie Watkins is finding him. He's been so important for that midfield to go find as a launch option when they need to play direct. When they play through the lines, he's a great runner in behind. He can get in the end of crosses. He can get out and cross the ball himself or find forwards and midfielders running in the box himself. So he's got the full package. And if he can do 75% away this season, next season, he'll still go probably down as their best part of the season because, hands down, most consistent, best performances, biggest moments. He has it all. He has the full package for me. And just been a fantastic watch this season to see how well he sustained the form, because it's always good having these moments you have these ups and downs, but to sustain it for 38 games over the season, to always be there for Villa, to be their leader of the front line, to be almost the face of the team in many regards this season, just fantastic. You've got Emi Martinez at the back keeping goals out the net, and you've got Ollie Watkins putting him in the back of the net. Pretty simple formula. You're going to win a lot more football games, and as such, you see them break into the top 4 there. So fantastic. Like 32 goal contribution in the Premier League is just fantastic, and especially the league we've got right now with how good some of the defences are in the league and how defensive and pragmatic teams can play at times. To get 32 goal contributions for a Villa side that's breaking in is just out of this world, and he deserves all the plaudits he gets, and as such wins the Playmaker of the Year award, which is absolutely deserved. And there we go. Now the priorities for next season. That's their season wrap. The priorities for next season, got to be full-back depth. I like Lugadinha, all right. Matty Cash for me is not the way going forward. I don't like Enzri Konsa playing at right back. If you're going to play a full-back, we've got to play 4 defenders in position. When you're going to play a 3-back at times and invert, okay, Enzri Konsa's fine at right back, but I want an out-and-out right back out there, and I want a bit more better depth or a bit more quality at left back as well. You're going to the Champions League next season. You're going to try to compete to stay back in Europe and potentially go back to the Champions League through the league. So you're going to have to elevate your squad in that region there. I think you need a massive right-back overhaul, especially someone who can equally go forward like Matty Cash, but a bit more solid defensively to make up. So you don't have to constantly change formation and change style based on the teams you play. You need a bit more all-rounded right-back there. And at left-back, a bit more depth. I think Alex Moreno's solid and Digne's solid, but there's no real X factor or real quality there that's going to separate yourself from other teams around that mark. So if you can get some fullback depth and some fullback quality, that's the first tick off for me. Secondly, is find a way to fit Diaby, Leon Bailey, and Watkins into the same side. I feel like that's the next step you need to make. If you can get a side when you've got these three dynamic attackers in at once, it's going to be exciting. We saw a few times this season they played together, and it's very dangerous. But again, you leave yourself a bit more vulnerable defensively. Can you find a way to play games from the start with those three up top? Because then you're going to see, I think, Villa in their final form almost. You've got such dynamic wingers in Bailey and in Diaby there, and you've got such a dangerous striker, Ollie Watkins. You've got to find a way to either make them work back a bit more defensively, Bailey and Diaby, or you have to find a way to set up a bit more defensively in midfield. Allow McGinn and Douglas Luiz sitting a little bit deeper alongside Boubacar Kamara and allow those three to go to work. But I feel like if you can find ways to incorporate all three to start together and play together more often next season, the goals, the excitement going to go through the roof. So that's something to add on to the game to adapt next season. And then finally, I think get Zaniolo back in a permanent. It's gone under the radar a bit. I think he's been very solid for them this season, coming off the bench as a real good squad player. Very important this season with all the games they've played this year. Champions League will be even more important next season. I think he's got that quality for this side. A great rotational player, as I said, when McGinn was out there with suspension, Kamara done his knee. He came in alongside Tielemans and Douglas Luiz and really filled in a really great job. So I feel like he's deserving of the permanent move there. I know Philip Coutinho is about. I know Buendia will be coming back from injury as well, but I think Zaniolo's deserved that permanent there. So a bit of a left field one, but I wouldn't mind seeing him come back and, again, can play at that left attacking midfield position and get more defensively solid in terms of tucking in more narrowly without the ball. But he's also got some great output in the final third, and whenever he comes off the bench, you saw the impact he made a lot in those games there for Aston Villa, being the dynamic, almost furthest forward at times for that side there as well. So I think bring him back as well for next season. That brings out my season grade. It's an A+. Fantastic year. Overachieved. Probably the biggest overachievers in many regards. You can maybe talk about Bournemouth and the Palace. But I feel like they are the biggest overachievers this season. A lot of people have them around 7th, 8th, 6th at best. But they've got 4th and got 4th quite comfortably. And I think it's the continuation of form, what you saw from the end of last season. We've got them Conference League football throughout a 37, 38 game season, which is a positive. And I think that's really, really exciting to see that they can extend this form, continue to perform at a high level, and can beat the big teams. Like I said, those 2 wins against the top 2 in the space of 3 to 4 days. Fantastic. The way they took it to the likes of Chelsea and United throughout the season. They might not got the results, but winning a double over Arsenal as well, just fantastic. So the blueprint is clearly there for Unai Emery. He's got the ability and he's got the players there now. Add a few pieces here and there. Have some fun. The Champions League, get back there for the first time in a long time. And next season could be really successful yet again. It's going to be hard, obviously, dealing with Champions League and then going to play Premier League on Saturdays. But they've done it this year in many regards with the Conference League football. So there's no reason why they can continue to manage Europe and Premier League football and push again. So I feel like next season it'll be another massive achievement to get back in the top 4, especially with Newcastle looking to bounce back, Chelsea looking to promote themselves back into the top 4, Man United fighting back for a top 4 position. It's going to be very, very challenging and very hard. But what Unai Emery's put in place with the work he's got these players doing, with the form of the likes of Bailey and Watkins, and the importance of Kamara, McGinn, and Douglas Luiz, you had a bit more depth at the back line, a bit more quality back there with Pau Torres and Diego Carlos. Emi Martinez, a World Cup winner and goal. It's a fantastic side. So I think the sky's the limit with this team here. Very impressive this season. As I said, an A+ for me. Fantastic year for them. And I think it's going to be very exciting for Villa fans. It's looking like a very bright future, especially the next 3 to 4 years. You've got a squad there that looks united and could take you to some glory. We never quite know. Maybe a cup next season as well. Let me know what you think in the comment section down below. How do you think Villa have gone this season? What's your grade for them this season? Who do you think is Villa's player of the season? Let me know that all in the comment section down below. If you enjoyed this video, please make sure, guys, to smash a like on it. Subscribe to the Players Zone channel for more content like this and press that post notification bell so you know we upload more podcasts, analytical content, prediction videos, Euros content coming up, and more of these season recaps. It's all coming here and all going to stay here in the Players Zone channel. Hope you have a great rest of your day, guys. Enjoy the upcoming football action, and I'll see you guys in a video very, very soon. Till next time, guys. See you later.